Our guest today on the Insider Podcast joins us from Southern California. He's the Vice President of Product Architecture and Consumer Communications at Cobra Golf, Mr. Jose Miraflor. Jose, always good to have you with us, my friend.
Tom, it's good to see your face, pal.
I like to refer to you as the Vice President of Happiness at Cobra because you're always happy. Everybody around you is always in a good mood. Seriously, tell our audience, our viewers and listeners a little bit, who may not know about you. Tell them a little bit about what you do there at Cobra.
Yeah, I think my title is way too long, by the way. It's like a small book. I would just say my title, the stuff I do is revolved around product. So I'm head of like Cobra products, architecture. I get the fun job of working with the innovation team and the R&D folks downstairs, and I work really closely with them. I run a team of great product line managers here. They handle the irons, putters, and wedges, and I handle the metals. And then the other half of my job is consumer connections, where I work with a team of individuals that heads up our staffers around the nation, our custom fitting days around the nation. We run about 3,000 fitting days all across the nation with all our different fitters. We have about 100 demo or fitting technicians that go out there and are battling the weather and whatever have you, but they're out there to share our products with the world. And so with that, they keep me pretty busy around here. I still manage to smile. You know why? I'm not digging a trench, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, I'm too fragile for that. These hands would bleed if I were to hold a shovel. So they're better off holding a golf club.
Well, let's talk about golf clubs because we got a lot of new stuff from Cobra right in the forefront. I got a couple behind me. DS Adapt driver, the most fittable driver you've had, the fastest and I guess the most fittable driver you've had to this point. Share with us about what went into this, because this is not something that's, that you came up from last year and tweaked a little bit this year. This is all new.
Yeah, it always starts with fast. I think Cobra is known for having some really fast drivers. We have probably the fastest golfer in the world in Kyle Berkshire using one of our drivers, right? So we start with aerodynamics to give us speed. We have internal weighting that gives you the speed and low spin, or the super forgiveness in our Max K driver that we have this year. Our first 10K drivers out there, to all the way to a draw driver that can help you eliminate or reduce that slice that you may be trying to solve. But you take all of those. We have 4 drivers in all: an LS for low spin, an X, which is the standard driver, a Max K, which is the 10K most forgiving driver we've ever made, and then the Max D for draw. You take all of those, and we're launching this year a new fitting hosel system. And whether you get fit professionally or whether you like to tinker yourself, we've made this system, although it has 33 unique settings, which could scare a bunch of people. Just realize that you're not going to use all 33 settings for yourself. You probably need 2 to 3 once you figure out where you need to be testing. And you're going to figure out or give yourself a ball flight that reduces your mishits and allows you to swing with confidence and maybe gain even more distance, because you can freewheel it once you're fit perfectly, knowing that your misses are going to be reduced. So a hosel system with that many fittings options is more than double the competition. It's more than 4x what we had prior to this year. So that's what we're calling the FutureFit33 fitting system.
Jose, let me ask you this. Most consumers, when they buy an adjustable driver, and most drivers are adjustable to some point. Yeah. A high percentage, probably in the 90s, once they get it set, they never adjusted any further. Why would you think that is? Is it because it's too difficult, or you got too many moving parts? Because this is kind of all right there. This is easy to do.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal, right? If you take your swing and analyze it for yourself and say, where's my miss? So say for me, my miss is normally low and left. I have very fast hands and I miss that. Once I think of and know that that's me, and I can admit to it, right? A lot of it is admitting where you hit the ball. And then now I can just concentrate on the upper right-hand quadrant of this hosel system, and there's only 3 or 4 settings up there that I need to try. And that's why after you get dialed into one of those, you really don't need to change it, because unless you're working on your swing with the teacher, then you may need to tweak it every 6 months as your game improves to match what you're learning. But most of us are pretty much, I mean, I've been playing golf 45 years, so I don't really need to change much in my swing. I know what my misses are. And if you can reduce my low hooks and let me swing hard and not have to worry about it going left into the rough or into the trees, I'm going to be way better off and a much better, much happier golfer. And that's what we're putting out this year, is a fitting system that allows you as a golfer, because we have an app that can take you through and show you what to do for yourself. Or if you go to one of your coaches or you're one of your top fitters in the nation around the world, like at Worldwide Golf, they would be able to tune it for you.
4 models, you mentioned it briefly. Let's just kind of go through those. Low LS, X, Max K, and Max D. The low spin, obviously, for better player, correct?
The fastest golfers out there are going to want the low spin version. It has 3 weights in it, 3 weighting systems, so you can keep it in neutral. You can put it in the toe to help reduce your draw or create more of a fade, and you can put it in the back that gives you height and forgiveness. So that's the LS. The X driver is what Rickie and Gary Woodland are using right now. They love the front weight position in this driver, and this is a standard 460 shape. This is the standard driver, but it's good enough for the guys on tour, and they love it with the heavier weight in the front. Or you can put the weight in the back and make it super forgiving. So that's the standard X driver. It's a great combination of speed and forgiveness. The Max K, like I mentioned earlier, is the 10K driver. It's super stable. And what's great about it is we've had a lot of time to perfect it and work on it. It doesn't overspin. In fact, we have a lot of faster golfers, guys with 120 miles per hour club head speed, using this driver, because they believe they can just hit it anywhere on the face and it's going to go straight. They just want to play bomb and gouge, right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Max D, not to be left without. There's still a lot of people out there, especially beginners, that don't know how to square the face. And the Max D positions all the weight in the heel of the driver. It's still very forgiving, still low spin, but it helps you close the face and deliver the most draw bias, I think we've learned in testing this year, of any draw style driver. So you have a straight neck driver that gives you about, if you wanted it all, up to 20 yards of right to left.
Wow. Now, you mentioned Gary Woodland. Man, he's driving the ball well right now. What did your tour staff say when you put this new club in their hands, when you weren't releasing it to the public yet, but what kind of feedback did you get from those guys?
What's funny, the first person to try it was Max Homa last year in the fall, when he came out to meet us and just say hello and tell us he's interested. And we brought him out to the range, and our head of tour, Ben Showman, worked with him on the new fitting system. And he said 2 things. He said, I love the way the driver feels, and I can't believe how easy this driver is to dial in, because we can create higher, lower, more fade, and more draw, which is very unique for something to be very centered in a fitting system. Normally it's towards one side and there's a lot of draw bias or there's a lot of fade bias, but not a perfect amount on each side. And that's what we're able to get. And in December, I was able to visit with them again. He still loved it. Then I helped get Rickie, Lexie, and Gary into the drivers. And they too said, what's so great about this is it allows us the freedom to not just do our driver, but we use it on our fairways, which, if you think about it, a lot of these guys have very flat swings, and having flatter positions on a fairway are really great. And although these guys don't use hybrids, we were able to test some hybrids with them and be able to show them how, typically when you hit a hybrid, it draws on you, and not everybody needs that draw. So we actually have a hybrid now. We can make flatter and lie angle that can allow it to fade and emulate the iron shot that you would want to hit into that green, but you're replacing it with the hybrid.
Well, there's so many options. Like you said, there's four models, 33 fitting options. Talk about the importance of being fit, of getting into one of our retail locations, getting fit with one of our fitters to dial in where you are. And then, like you said, you can tweak it from there, correct?
Absolutely. You want to go to a Worldwide Golf Shop. These guys are trained. We've traveled the first part of this year going out to train our partners in crime out there that are all the different retailers. And Worldwide Golf has, some of the best fitters in the nation. And when you go in there, they're going to take the 4 heads and they're going to help you decide probably down to 2 heads. So either you're going to be a K and a D head, or an X and an LS head, or maybe like me, I had a choice between an X and a K. And they're going to help you try different shafts in those. And once you decide on a head and you decide where the weight positions go on the head, if it's adjustable, then you go and use that fitting dial, the hosel system, to really dial in that trajectory and really reduce the amount of misses that you typically have. It's very unique and it works really well.
Wow. Well, let's move on. 3D printed irons is something that's all new. Talk about that.
Yeah, 3D printed irons. We put out the limited set last year. We made 500 limited 3D printed irons. And when I say 3D printed, everyone, not everybody knows, it's like it's metal powder that's being laid down and then lasered to harden it and fuse it to the metal that's below it. And you keep on laying 2,600 passes. So it's one day to make a tray of 32 irons 3D printed. What makes it so good is that we can make a lattice system inside of an iron to make it solid, like a muscle back or a cavity back forging. But we save 100 grams of weight to put heel and toe for forgiveness, and really low in the head to make the CG really low to make it hit the ball up in the air. So what we are able to create is a small looking iron. We're calling it the 3DP Tour. This year, it's a small looking iron. It's a little bit smaller than our King Tour iron, but it's more forgiving than our Tech irons. It's more forgiving than our Tech X iron. It's as forgiving as our Adapt irons. So small head that plays really big. It allows you to be precise. It gives you the feel of a tour iron, but when you do miss it off center, as we do, it's going to give you a lot of forgiveness.
That's unheard of. I mean, an iron that small with that big of forgiveness, because when you put it down behind your ball, you're gonna have the confidence that you're hitting a tour iron, but the forgiveness is off the charts.
Yes, it allows me, who's a struggling 7, to still feel like I'm playing a blade like when I was a kid, but I know that I have the backup behind it. That means I'm not going to lose that distance just because I hit it slightly on the toe, right?
Struggling 7. I'll take you in my member guest anytime. Hey, let's get you out of here on this one. The new King wedges.
Oh yeah, and that's hitting the stores right now, and it's taking. Max spoke about it. He kind of gave them away when he announced his set of irons, and we've launched a new set of King wedges and King X wedges. So whether you want the specialty wedges, the grinds that are used on tour, or you need a little bit more help and gives you a little bit more cavity back forgiveness and a little bit more generous sole, we have some new wedges we've launched. That's 5 total grinds between the 2 lines to help you figure out what you need in your bag. And, I urge all of you guys out there to think about your wedges. You should be changing them just for the grooves alone once every 2 years. Our tour staffers change them every 3 months. And that's because the grooves need to be perfect. You want to spin it your best. So if you practice a lot with your wedges or you play a lot, chances are every 2 years you should get some new grooves on those wedges. And you know what? Talk to a fitter and see which grinds you need for a full 52 or a 56 or a 60 bunker, or for a 60 out of wet conditions. You may need some different grinds, and that's what the reasons why all of us OEMs have so many different grinds. It caters to your attack angle and your need, whether you're attacking the green full or around the greens trying to save par.
Yeah, we talk about gapping all the time, but somewhere lost in that, like you just said, your angle of attack and your ball flights, you got to look at that as well, right?
Yeah, everybody attacks the ball differently. Like I think you like you, Tom, you try and hit those low shots that go in and stop 1-2. That means you're leaning your shaft forward. You need something with a little bit of leading edge radius for digging prevention. And you might need some bounce back there to get it back out of the ground. And then around the green, if you're hitting bunker shots, everyone, and your bunker shot seems to go nowhere and you want it to go further, a little hint for you guys is you need a little bit wider sole. The ball will fly further with the same amount of energy. On the opposite is if you're hitting bunker shots and they seem to be flying too far, you might want to trail away a little bit of that back edge so the wedge can slide under the sand and make the sand propel upward and get that ball to fly higher and stop sooner. So you got to really fit your wedge to your type of attack angle for the shots you want to hit.
Jose bringing it all. Not only we have new products, but we've got fitting tips and also swing tips, man. It's all, I love catching up with you. Like I said, Vice President of Happiness. Jose, before we let you go, how about some final words for our listeners and viewers?
Hey, everyone, it's that time of the year. It's the best week of the year, in my opinion. It's time to play golf. Think about your equipment, and let's root on the best players in the world, and let's get out there and hit that ball.
It's on us. Jose Miraflor, Cobra Golf. Thanks as always, my friend.
Take care, my friend.